Have you ever faced a choice where every option felt like losing? That's where I found myself, in the heart of Ravenshade, as the world I knew was ripped apart. It started with a tremor, a deep guttural groan from the earth itself. Then the ground split open. Crimson light bled from the cracks, an angry molten glow that painted the town in shades of nightmare. This wasn't just another tremor. The ancient curse we all feared wasn't just stirring, it was waking up, and it was hungry. The air filled with the sounds of pure terror. Panic erupted as bells told a frantic, desperate warning. People were screaming, running for their lives, but there was nowhere to hide. Their own shadows stretched and tore free, twisting into monstrous shapes. Dark, faceless figures crawled from mirrors, from the dark corners of every room, from the very edges of our vision. They were nightmares given form, and they were everywhere. The town I loved, the people I knew, were being consumed by darkness, and in the very center of this swirling chaos stood Elias. While everyone else ran, he was completely still. His eyes were blazing with an unnatural, fiery light, and his hands trembled, not with fear, but with power. He wasn't fighting the creatures of shadow. He was conducting them like a symphony of destruction. The darkness bent to his will. It was a horrifying, beautiful sight. He turned to me, his face a mask of sorrow, and the chaos around us seemed too quiet just for a moment. He looked at me, and the pain in his eyes was so deep it felt like it could swallow the world. "This is what I am, Lena," he said, his voice barely a whisper against the wind. "What you were meant to be." He was so close I could feel the heat radiating from him, the raw power thrumming under his skin. The wind howled around us, tearing at my hair. But in that moment, it was just the two of us, suspended in the eye of the storm. Then the pendant on my chest, the one he'd given me so long ago, burned with a sudden intense heat. It wasn't painful. It felt like a key turning in a lock deep inside my mind. Images, fragmented and overwhelming, flooded my senses. I saw it all, the first curse being cast, an ancient, desperate pact made under a dying sun. I saw two lovers, their faces shadowed but their love a beacon, choosing darkness, not for power, but to save a world that was already crumbling. Elias and I, we weren't enemies destined to fight. We were its origin. We were the beginning of the curse itself. A terrible understanding dawned on me. The shadows, the faceless creatures, they recognized us. They were ours to command. If I took his hand, if I embraced this dark heritage, the creatures would bow to us. The curse would be whole again, and together we would rule over the shadows. But the other path, if I fought it, if I found a way to break the curse for good, he would be unmade. He was tied to it, a part of its very fabric. To destroy the curse meant destroying him. It was an impossible choice, the love of my life or the freedom of the world. One of them had to die tonight. Tears streamed down my face, mixing with the cold, driving rain. The weight of centuries, of a love I was only just remembering, settled on my shoulders. I looked at him, at the man I loved, who was also the monster I had to stop. I stepped forward, my voice shaking but my resolve firm. Then let it end with us. As the words left my lips, the pendant didn't just burn, it exploded. A blinding torrent of pure white light erupted from my chest, pushing back against the crimson sky. It was a silent, beautiful cataclysm, washing over the town, over the screaming shadows, over him. When the light faded and I could finally open my eyes, a profound silence had fallen over Vonshade. The streets were deserted, but peaceful. The red glow was gone, replaced by the soft, silver light of the moon. The shadows had vanished, and so had he. They'll call me a hero. They'll say I saved them from the darkness. But they'll never know the price that was paid. They'll never know what we both gave to save them. But sometimes, when the wind moves through the forest at night and everything is still, I still hear his name whispered on the breeze. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you were moved by Lena's story, do not forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you do not miss what comes next in episode 5. We'll see you in the after.